Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha. And first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila, Ravishna Om Astottara Sarashishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astottara Sarashishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all our Rupa Nuga Guru Vargya and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams. So today is the last really big day, and today is an ecstatic day. We go to so many really inspirational places. We're going to Varshana and the whole 4 miles radius of Varshana. That 4 miles radius is the same as Nandagan. Nandagan is also covers a 4 mile radius. And they meet at Sanket, those 4 miles from each side, which we've already discussed. So today we're going to Sankarikor, we're going to Chiksoli, we're going to Gahvaravana parikrama, we're going to Vilasa-gharha, Mana-garha, Dana-garha, Mor-kuti, Shriji, Pilipoka, Uchagan, Sakigiri Parvat, and Suryakunda. So that's a lot of places to cover. So I'll just be reading mostly excerpts from Srila Gurudev's VRAJA-MANDAL parikrama book, and then I'll be adding some extra comments there to those writings. So tomorrow begins our Bhishma Panchaka, the last 5 days of Kartik from the Ekadashi through to the Purnima. And many devotees intensify these last 5 days of their Chatumasya Brat. We've gone for 4 months following the injunctions of Chatumasya. And now then we tightened it up more to go through Kartik. And now these last 5 days from tomorrow through to the Purnima is when very often devotees, they increase their rounds, or they minimize their eating, or they even follow Ekadashi for the next 5 days. Different types of brats, whatever is our desire, can be increased, because this is like the last breath of this powerful opportunity to get these incredibly astonishing sanskars. So these last 5 days, starting from tomorrow. So today we have 1 more day. Well, we have 2 more days actually. We go to Javat also. But today is an exceptional day. We come to the very home of Sri Radha. So the first place we'll come to is Vrishabhanu Kund. As we drive in, it's on the right-hand side before we begin going up the Brahma Parvat and Vishnu Parvat mountains there. So Vrishabhanu Kund is a very beautiful kund even today. It's been recently renovated to some degree, but it was here that Vrishabhanu Maharaj would come daily and take his bath. And Gurudev describes that in some kalpas, Radharani's manifestation, Radharani's form, was discovered here by Vrishabhanu Maharaj. She's found on the lotus at Raval, which is near Gokul, and in some kalpas she's found on a beautiful lotus here at Vrishabhanu Kund. So we're honoring this kund first, and we can appreciate the meaning of Vrishabhanu. Vrisha represents the Taurus or the bull, Vrisha, and Bhanu means sun. So all of the people in Vrishabhanu's dynasty previously, they've all particularly worshipped the sun, and they all feel that they are related to the sun. So Vrishabhanu, his brothers, are called Ratnabhanu and Subhanu and Bhanu. And Vrishabhanu's sister is called Bhanu Mudra. So there's Bhanu throughout. Bhanu meaning sun, as I said. So Vrishabhanu, Nandini, Sri Radhika. So all coming from the sun. So Sri Radhika, she considers herself as if she's the daughter of the sun god. And there's one very beautiful pastime later on where she goes to the sun and she retrieves the Shamantaka jewel before she takes birth again as Satyabhama in Dwarka. And that's a whole nother pastime. So we've come to Vrishabhanu Kund, and we're putting sacred drops on our heads, and we're praying for the mercy of Vrishabhanu Maharaj and of course Vrishabhanu Nandini to have success on our parikrama. So now I'm going to read something of Srila Gurudev's description of Varshana, and then I'll go into the other pastime places. So Gurudev writes, Varshana is the pastime place of Sri Krishna's beloved Sri Radhika. Lying at the heart of this village is a multitude of the divine couple's sweet and secret amorous pastime places, together with their transcendental moods and desires. The Vaishnava community reveres Varshana. I'll just interject here. Varshana means a shower. Varsha in Hindi it means rain or shower. And sometimes the commentaries of the Acharya are titled Varsha also. So Varsha is meaning shower of nectar. The Vaishnava community reveres Varshana. This venerable land with its lakes, ponds, gardens and forests, such as Gahvaravana, Sankarikor and other places, reminds one of Radha and Krishna's different pastimes. In Braj, the grass, small shrubs, creepers, trees, animals, birds, insects, snakes and so forth are all composed of Sat-Chit Ananda, or eternality, spiritual consciousness and full transcendental bliss. They assist Radha and Krishna in their pastimes and are very dear to them. It is said in the scriptures that even eminent realized souls like Brahma and Shankar repeatedly pray to attain a birth like theirs so that they may be able to serve Radha and Krishna. For instance, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami says in Brajavilas-stava, Yat kinchit trin gulma kikati mukam goshte samasta hitat. He says all the grass, shrubs, insects, and other creatures found in Braj are very dear to he who is the very embodiment of all transcendental bliss, Sri Mukunda, and they assist in his pastimes. All the scriptures have repeatedly established this fact, and devotees ranging from Brahma to Uddhav have expressed a desire to take birth in Braj amongst these species. For these reasons I worship all the creatures who reside in Braj. So Srila Gurudev is relating this specifically to Varshana. Gurudev writes, Varshana's original name is Vrishabhanupur. Vrishabhanu Maharaj, the father of Sri Radhika, lived here with his family. Varshana is situated 14 miles west of Govardhan and 6 miles east of Kamyavan. According to the Varaha and Padma Puranas, Brahma pleased Sri Hari at the end of Satya Yuga by performing arduous worship. Brahma then asked for the following boon: Please perform your sweet pastimes with the Braja Gopis on my very form and allow me to behold these leelas. Please make my life blessed by especially performing swing pastimes in the rainy season and by performing Holi in spring. Pleased with Brahma, Sri Hari instructed him, "Go to Vrishabhanupur and take the form of a hill there. In that form you will be able to behold all our sweet pastimes." And it so happened that Brahma assumed the form of a hill at this place in Braj and fulfilled his cherished desire. So we have the Brahma Parvat. This is the biggest hill, and it has 4 peaks which represent the 4 heads of Lord Brahma. That is, and on each peak there's a special pastime. One is called Vilasa-gharha, the other is called Mana-garha, the other is called Dana-garha, and finally there's Mor-kuti, where Radha and Krishna perform pastimes as peacocks. Gar, by the way, when we talk about Vilasa-gharha, gar means like fortress or place or fortified place, fortress. Gurudev continues, "The parikrama of Varshana is 4 miles long. Braja Bhakti Vilas, quoting Padma Purana, describes the characteristics of Vrishabhanupur as follows. According to the Padma Purana, 2 hills face each other here. One is Vishnu Parvat and the other is Brahma Parvat. Vishnu Parvat is on the left and Brahma Parvat is on the right. On top of Brahma Parvat is the temple of Sri Radha and Krishna. Close by to the north, on the lower side of the hill, is the palace of Maharaj Vrishabhanu, where one can have darshan of Sri Vrishabhanu Maharaj, Sri Kirtida Maharani, Sridham, and Srimati Radhika. Nearby is a temple of Sri Lalita in which one can have darshan of Radhika along with the 9 Sakis. So this is at the bottom of the hill. This is when we come down the long steps on the other side. If we've walked up through Gahvaravana, which is the way we're going to go today, we're going to walk through the village of Varshana after Vrishabhanu Kund. We're going to walk through the village, and then we're going to come to the parikrama path of going through Gahvaravana, and we're going to go through Sankarikor, then we're going to come down through Chiksholi, and then we're going to come up to Krishna Kund, and then we're going to come to Dana-garha, and then we're going to come to the Jaipur temple, and then we're going to go further along the path and we're going to come to the Sriji, the main temple on the top of the hill. Then we go down some very steep steps at the other side of Sriji, and at the bottom of those steps is this place that Gurudev has just described, which is like the home or the palace originally where Maharaj Vrishabhanu stayed with Kirtida Maharani and Sridham, Radharani's brother. So that's at the bottom of the hill. Gurudev describes, also on top of Brahma Parvat are Dan Mandir, the place of a swing, Mor-kuti, a VRAJA-MANDAL and a temple of Srimati Radhika. Further on, between the 2 hills, is Sankarikor. Near Sankarikor is Vilas Mandir, and next to Vilas Mandir is Gahvaravana. Within Gahvaravana are Radha's Sarovar and a Rasa-mandal, and near is Dohani Kund. Very close to this Kund is Mayur Sarovar, which is constructed by Chitralekha. Banu Sarovar is also nearby, and on its bank is Brajeshwara, a deity of Maharudra. On the left side is Kirti Sarovar. So Gurudev is describing all these different kunds and sarovars and lakes. This is an exceptionally attractive place for the sadhaks to take shelter of and remember deeply the sweet pastimes of Sri Radha. Everywhere are nothing but pastimes of Sri Radha, and our goal, our objective is to, at some point, at some time, to render service to Sri Radha as her dasi. This is our Gaudiya Siddhanta, and this is the gift that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to bestow upon the jivas at this time. So coming to Varshana in particular, all of these inspirations, these udipans, these memories, will be inspired in the devotees' hearts to see and hear of all these extraordinary pastimes of Sri Radha here in her family home. And Krishna would come regularly from Nandagan and perform all types of activities. So after Brishabhanu Kund, we've walked up through the village, and we've first of all come to this most extraordinary place of Sankari Kaur. And this is unique in the sense that only one person at a time can walk between these two hills or mountains. We've got the Vishnu Parvat mountain on the left as we walk through, and we've got the Brahma Parvat mountain on the right, the light-colored mountain on the right as we walk through. And the Acharyas have described how this has been arranged because ultimately to access these powerful truths internally, it's a solitary journey to the center of the individual's heart. And only one person can go there at a time. So we are accessing this place deep in the heart to come through this physical path which only allows one person at a time. However many are in the party, if there's 10,000 in the party, still everyone has to just simply go one at a time through this wonderful track between the two hills. So now Gurudev describes this Sankari Kaur. This narrow passageway lies between Brahma Parvat and Vishnu Parvat, and both Gopas and Gopis would make their way along it. After milking the cows, the Gopas would carry the milk on kamvars, which is a bamboo stick with ropes attached to each end for carrying loads. They used this pathway to cross from one side of the hills to the other. Frolicsome Krishna would plunder the milk, yogurt and butter of the jovial gopis here. Every year, in the month of Bhadra, on Sukla Trayodasi, the 13th day of the bright moon, Buddhi Lila is enacted here, as inaugurated by Sri Narayan Bhatta. Sri Narayan Bhatta, I've mentioned his name before. He's written one parikrama book which contains 60,000 pastimes of Krishna. His kutia we'll see today at Uchagan. He had what's called a gufa, which is under the ground, and we'll see that today in Uchagan. Gurudev continues, this pastime is also enacted here annually on the occasion of Radhastami, the appearance day of Srimati Radhika. At this Dan-gati, Sri Krishna and his Gopa friends would become tax collectors and demand milk, yogurt and butter as toll tax from the gopis. When the gopis refused to give any tax, Krishna would forcibly plunder and relish their milk products. The gopis, being tired of these daily encounters, decided one day to retaliate strongly. They decided that on a chosen day they would all hide in the caves and dense kunjas on the hill of both sides of the narrow pathway. A few gopis would then cross Sankari Kaur, carrying pots of milk, yogurt and butter on their heads. The plan was that the moment Krishna and his sakhas would stop them and try to plunder their load, the gopis would call out to their friends hiding nearby, who would at once descend from their hideouts. Then, under the leadership of Lalita, they would teach Krishna and the sakhas a good lesson. So this is an exact replica, of course, of what happened in Dan-gati in Govardhan, at Dan-nirvatan Kund. The same pastime is enacted. So this very beautiful pastime is enacted here, directly in Varshana. Gurudev continues, and so it happened that the next day thousands and thousands of gopis divided into groups and hid themselves in the dense kunjas and large caves around Sankari Kaur. Then, as usual, a few gopis placed pots of milk and yogurt on their heads and made their way towards Sankarikor. Krishna, Madhumangal, and the other Sakhas obstructed their path and forcibly began to plunder their milk and yogurt. At once these gopis signaled to the gopis who were hiding, and a wonderful pastime took place. 5 to 10 gopis forcefully caught hold of Krishna, another 5 to 10 caught hold of Madhumangal, and further groups captured Subal, Arjun, Lavanga, and the other Sakhas. They slapped their cheeks till they were swollen. They then tied the tuft of their hair on the back of their heads to the branches of the trees and asked them, "What pleasure is there in plundering our yogurt? Will you ever do it again?" Madhumangal folded his hands and prayed at the feet of Lalita, "Please spare me. I was very hungry. I am simply a Brahmin boy who fell under the influence of that fickle Krishna. I shall never behave like this again." The gopis thus taught the Sakhas a lesson. Srimati Radhika, Vishaka, and some other gopis had captured Krishna. They slapped his cheeks a few times, then forcibly dressed him like a woman with a blouse and skirt. They even put vermilion in the parting of his hair, bangles on his arms, anklets on his feet, and so on. They covered half his face with a veil, placed a pot of yogurt on his head, and began to make fun of him by demanding tax on the yogurt. From the top of the hill, Lalita Sakhi aimed a stone at the pot of yogurt on Krishna's head, breaking it and drenching his whole body. All the Sakhis began to laugh and clap, and Shyam felt very ashamed. "Will you dare to demand tax of our yogurt ever again?" they asked. "Hold your ears and vow. From today I will never try to tax the gopis' yogurt." They forced Krishna to repeat this. How sweet! These beautiful childlike pastimes are being enacted with the greatest affection, with the greatest mood of sweetness between them all, invoking great happiness and bliss in the Sakhas and the Sakhis. So now, traditionally, we would always sit here. We would walk through with Gurudev and we would have wonderful kirtan, hear these pastimes, and Brijbasi dancers would dance in the middle on the pathway just before going down through the crevice between the two hills, and it would be a very festive atmosphere, and Srila Gurudev would love to participate extensively with us at that time. So once we've walked through Sankarikor, we come to Chiksholi, which is the birthplace of Chitrasakhi, and we walk through this very small village, and Srila Gurudev has described this village in the parikrama book. He says, Chiksholi is situated below Brahma Parvat and between Sankarikor and Gahvaravana. It is the birthplace of Chitrasakhi, one of the 8 main Sakhis. Chitrasakhi's parents are Chatura Gopa and Charchita Gopi. She is married to Pitara Gopa in Javat. She is very expert at decorating and dressing Srimati Radhika in a variety of wonderful dresses and ornaments. She is also skilled in many arts, such as painting and understanding the language of animals and birds. Once Radhika, the young daughter of Vrishabhana Maharaj, was playing here with her girlfriends when she heard the very sweet and alluring sound of Krishna's flute in the distance. She became so enchanted by that sound that she offered her mind, body, and everything to the person playing that sweet flute, and became desirous to meet him. Radhika then saw an amazingly beautiful painting of Sri Krishna that Chitrasakhi had made. She forgot all else and offered her everything to this astonishing, beautiful person. At this time, Sri Krishna and his Sakhas were leaving to herd the cows. Upon seeing his supremely heart-stealing threefold bending form, Radha could not control her feelings and offered herself to this handsome young man. Meanwhile, Sri Krishna wandered off into the distance to graze his cows. Now in a state of great restlessness, Sri Mataji began to relate what was on her mind to her Sakhis. she told Lalita, "O Saki, I do not want to remain alive for a moment longer. Honorable women dedicate their hearts to one man only. When a young girl is engaged to someone, she considers him to be her husband and thinks of no one else. But today I have become attached to 3 men, the flute player, the young man in Chitra's painting, and the beautiful young man taking the cows out to graze. My righteous conduct has been destroyed. What is the use of my remaining alive now?" Hearing this, Sri Lalita burst into peals of laughter and said, "O bewildered one, there is no need for you to die. These 3 are not different people. They are one and the same person. The man playing the sweet flute is none other than Nandanandan, Sri Krishna, and he is also the one in the painting, and the one who went cowherding. So what need is there for you to give up your life?" So this is one pastime Srila Gurudev relates in Chiksoli, this beautiful little village. And as we walk through this village of Chiksoli, which is just hugging the side of the Brahma Parvat, leading into the area of the most confidential places of Radha's pastime in the Gahvaravana parikrama. So now we walk along the little village pathways and we come into a large sort of empty space, and surrounded by, just at the very foot of Brahma Parvat, and looking up to our right we can see a set of stairs, quite steep, that go up to the right. And if we go up those stairs we come to Mor-kuti, this place where Radha and Krishna, they took the forms of peacocks and they danced beautifully to everyone's astonishment. So Gurudev writes about this Mor-kuti. Mor-kuti is situated on the top of Brahma Parvat. Here one can have darshan of the Rasa-mandal, where Srimati Radhika and Krishna danced in the form of a peacock, Mayur, and pea-hen. Once Srimati Radhika and Krishna came to this place together with the Sakis. Upon seeing them, the peacocks became overjoyed with ecstasy and began to dance. Clouds gathered in the sky and a light shower of rain fell. Nature had decorated herself fully, as if she was a beautiful and charming young woman. Radha and Krishna could not check their feelings. Taking the form of a peacock and pea-hen, they danced in an astonishing way, along with the circle of peacocks and pea-hens. All the Sakis were astounded to see their skillful dancing. They began to sing different songs and ragas, which increased Radha and Krishna's pleasure. So when we go there, we see beautiful painting of this pastime. And sometimes today, the Brijabasis, they make a large fan of peacock feathers and they tie it round their waist and they enact this beautiful pastime of Radha and Krishna dancing like peacocks. The peacock is the most beautifully coloured bird in Braj, and it adds constant beauty to the backdrop of Braj. So Radha and Krishna are honouring this beautiful bird in this way. And then after walking up all those stairs, it's quite a puff to walk up those stairs, but it's very rewarding when we see the beautiful little temple atop the hill. So this is one of Lord Brahma's heads. And then we come back down again to the same courtyard. This courtyard is in front of a very large kitchen distribution area for feeding all the sadhus. Thousands and thousands and thousands of pilgrims come and they take Mahaprasad at this place. They have huge chapati making machines and things like that inside this very large building. And they're always distributing prasadam, and it's funded by many different groups of Brijbasis who regularly feed all the yatris. So then, with that place behind us, we walk up some steps, just a small flight of steps, and we come to Krishna Kund. And Krishna Kund is so attractive to the eye. It resides sunken into what looks like a small forest of trees are all around it. And it's a most extremely attractive place to see. And Gurudev writes, this pond is called Gahvaravana Kund. It's also called Krishna Kund, but it's also called Gahvaravana Kund. Canopied by creepers on all sides and covered by thick trees, this pond is the very beauty of Gahvaravana. Nearby are beautiful groves. Vaishnavas perform parikrama of these groves with deep faith and roll in the dust here. This pond holds many memories of Radha and Krishna's various amorous exchanges. So this whole area where we're walking today, practically at every single step, there's a pastime of Radha and Krishna's. Either their frivolous playing or their amorous exchanges. So all around this area is soaked in a mood of exceptional sweetness. And this kund just enhances and it bathes the consciousness in beauty when we see it, when we have darshan of this kund. And the parikrama party, generally we sit on the banks of this kund, gazing at the kund, and we hear Harikatha at this place. And afterwards we start again our ascent towards the peak of Brahma Parvat. And as we walk through, there's many bougainvilleas with their beautiful purple flowers there. And we come through a grove. And as we start to walk up the narrow pathway, off to our left is Mana-garha. And there's one Baba there, and he's called Ram Baba. And Gurudev was very friendly with him. This Ram Baba, he's now quite old. He has lived there for more than 60 years. He's never left. And he looks after cows. He has thousands and thousands and thousands of cows. And he has a very nice ashram on top of Mana-garha. And we can go up there, we can visit. There's very nice deities. He's always very hospitable. He'll always give prasadam. And when Srila Gurudev was performing his leaving this world pastimes in Govardhan, he was one of the only Babas who actually came to see Srila Gurudev at that time. They had a very strong friendship. He's a complete, total Brijbasi, and many miraculous occurrences surround his life there in those 60 years that he's lived. He's a fascinating personality, Ram Baba. So he stays in Mana-garha. As we walk up that path I described, there's very steep steps off to the left, and if we want to walk up there, then we can take darshan of Mana-garha completely. Gurudev describes, Mana-garha is a very attractive place on top of Brahma Parvat. Srimati Radhika displayed man, or a sulky mood here, but Rasi Krishna very skillfully broke it. So as I said before, Gar means like fortress. So we can imagine the fortress that is erected by Radharani's man, that no one can enter. And Krishna has to perform all kinds of fascinating activities to break that man of Sri Radha. So one day Sri Krishna sent a message to Srimati Radhika through Subal, who is one of his Priya Nam Sakhas, and through Vrindadevi, that they should meet at a certain time. Krishna was on his way when he suddenly met Padma, Chandravali's friend. Padma described Srimati Chandravali's state of separation from him and repeatedly requested him to meet her. Sri Krishna could not ignore her plea and went to Chandravali's kunj, for what he intended to be a short time. However, he became so absorbed in sweet talks and playful pastimes with Chandravali that he forgot everything else, and the time for the arranged meeting with Sri Radhika elapsed. Meanwhile, one of Srimati Radhika's well-trained female parrots, Saris, arrived on a tree in the same kunj. The parrot returned to Srimati Radhika and told her all of the details of Krishna and Chandravali's sweet conversations and playful pastimes. Radhika became deeply distressed and went into a man that was very difficult to break. Within her heart, she finally resolved that she had no need for such an insolent Krishna. So when Sri Krishna finally arrived, long after the appointed meeting time, Srimati turned her face away from him. Seeing her unwavering man, Sri Krishna tried to appease her through all kinds of means and tricks, but her man would not break. Becoming hopeless and feeling sad, Krishna left that place. On the road, he met Vishaka, who advised him to disguise himself as a new Saki playing a veena. He went to Srimati Radhika together with Vishaka, who introduced this new Saki as Shyam Saki. Vishaka profusely praised Shyam Saki's ability to play the veena and sing, as well as all her other skills. We should understand that when Krishna disguises himself, Vrindadevi is the one who does it, and of course she is Yogamaya. So when she disguises Krishna, practically nobody can see through that disguise. It really does appear that another person completely who Krishna is trying to impersonate manifests from Vrindadevi's mystical abilities as Yogamaya. Srimati Radhika seated this new Saki next to her with great honor and respect. Upon hearing her exceptional singing, she became filled with delight and embraced her. Srimati Radhika recognized her beloved merely by his touch. As soon as she had done so, her man was broken. Surrounded by her friends, she now became absorbed in beautiful pastimes with the beloved of her life. In Mana-garha, one can also have darshan of Man Mandir, a swing, a Rasa-mandal, and Ratnakara Sarovar, just near Mana-garha, to the south of the village of Manapur, which reminds one of all these pastimes. So the acharyas and saintly personalities of the past, they have erected these beautiful buildings and established these principal places for us to hear and remember these exceptional pastimes. So now, coming through Mana-garha, we continue our parikrama, walking up to Shriji. And we can see over on our left the Vilasa-gharha, another one of the hills or the heads, the peaks of Lord Brahma. And it's described that this place is in fact situated on Vishnu Parvat. And Radha and Krishna perform many playful pastimes, vilas here. Nearby is where Sri Radha used to play in the dust together with her Sakis. One day, when Radhika was a child, she was playing in the dust with her Sakis when mischievous Krishna suddenly arrived. The Sakis forbade him to come inside the kunj. But why would Sri Krishna obey them? He entered by force. At that moment, a dust storm fell upon them by providence, and the entire sky became covered with dust. Nothing could be seen anywhere, and the Sakis fearfully covered their eyes with their hands. Krishna took this opportunity to embrace the youthful Radhika and kiss her face. This pastime took place at the time of Vayu-sandhi, or the period between childhood and youth. Today, Vilasa-mandir is situated where this pastime took place. And Gurudev quotes from the Adi Varaha Purana, where it's saying, I offered my obeisances to Sri Krishna in the form of he who plays lovely pastimes. He performs these pastimes simply to give pleasure to the Sakhis. So this is the whole mood. The Sakhis want to give pleasure to Krishna, and Krishna wants to reciprocate and give pleasure to them. So all these exceptional pastimes are taking place here. So that is off to our right as we're walking up the hill to the palace of Shriji. And then we come to Dana-garha, which is the final peak or head of Lord Brahma. And Gurudev describes, this beautiful place is on top of Brahma Parvat. One day, Rasik Sri Krishna and Subal were sitting here as tax collectors, eagerly awaiting the arrival of Srimati Radhika and her friends, who were to pass this way carrying various articles of worship on the pretext of going to worship the sun god. Upon seeing her, Sri Krishna obstructed her path and rebuked her, saying, Who are you, and where are you going? Srimati Radhika answered, Don't you know who we are? And she fearlessly continued forward. Krishna and Subal Saka again obstructed her, and Krishna said, Don't you know that I have been appointed by the king of this state to collect taxes here? You cannot pass without paying taxes. Every day you carelessly strut through here, carrying a variety of valuable items, and you never pay tax. Halt! Pay the tax, and then you may pass. Vishaka then spoke in a stern voice, This is Radhika's kingdom, Vrishabhanu Nandini, Srimati Radhika Vrindavaneshwari, not anyone else. How have you become the tax collector here without receiving her permission? Your offence is inexcusable, and for it you must suffer. Sri Krishna replied, Don't talk so impudently. Karnadapadev, Cupid, is the king of this place. Every day you come and go through here, secretly carrying various expensive items, but you never pay any tax. This has angered Maharaj Kandarpa, who has sent me here. If you refuse to pay tax, then I will arrest you all and bring you before the king. You will have to suffer whatever punishment he hands down to you. Actually, we see as we walk around the young Brijbasi boys, they also try to hold up the pilgrims as they walk along and demand taxes too, and try to take some paisa from the yatris passing by. Hearing Krishna's words, Vishaka replied, What can your king do? Our queen is Vrindavaneshwari, the queen of Vrindavan. In her presence we fear no one. We are well acquainted with the prowess of your king, whose pride is shattered to pieces by the arrow-like glances of Srimati Radhika. Having said this, all the Sakhis move forward, keeping Sri Radhika up front. Krishna stepped forward and stood in the middle of the narrow path of Sankarikor. O impudent women of Braj, you fearlessly cross this place daily, holding various kinds of jewels. Today, without fail, you must pay the tax on those jewels. After such joking words and much laughter, Kishori enjoyed various amorous pastimes in a solitary grove, and all the Sakhis became filled with bliss. The temple here is called Dan Mandir. So when we reach this place of Dan Mandir, it's a very beautiful courtyard, and there's a large Julan Stali, a swing stand place right in the courtyard, and the most beautiful deities are in the little temple here. And this is the top of Brahma Parvat, and we sit here regularly and we hear beautiful pastimes about Radha and Krishna. So this is Dana-garha. So now we've been to all the 4 principal peaks of Brahma Parvat, and next we walk through and we come into a very beautiful gardened area, and this is the Jaipur Palace, which was built by one Maharaj from Jaipur, built this palace. And it's very beautiful inside, pillars and high roof and beautiful deities, and always very cool. If we go there in the heat of summer, it's a very nice place to rest before the final walk to Shriji herself. So we take darshan of that place, and then we continue our parikrama through till we reach Shriji. And here in Shriji, we're going to hear the beautiful pastimes of, or an explanation of the Stava-raj that we traditionally sing when we come to Shriji. We always sing the Radha Kripa Kataksha Stava-raj when we come with our party. And today, our Bhaktivedanta Tapasvi Maharaj, he will explain something about this beautiful Stava-raj of Radha Kripa Kataksha that we're going to sing here in Shriji. When we've reached Shriji, we'll notice how beautiful this place and area is. This today is the place of worshipping Radha. Her actual home, as I've already described, is down the bottom of the hill. But here on top of the hill, we worship Radha in this extremely opulent, beautiful temple with large courtyard and 2 courtyards. And it's generally filled with kirtanias and dancing, and beautiful festivals like Holy Festival take place here. And huge parikrama parties sit here sometimes for days and perform beautiful kirtan. So we're going to sit here and we're going to sing our Radha Kripa Kataksha Stava-raj. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.